Hello everyone. So today I'm going to show you a small demo on how to create a sequence in SAP HANA Studio. So before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Somnath Ray. I'm a SAP Certified Application Associate in SAP HANA, and I'm also a CPA and a diploma in IFRS. So let me first introduce you to the topic of sequence. So a sequence is a database object that generates an automatically incremented list of numeric values according to the rules defined in the sequence specification. The sequence of numeric values is generated in ascending or descending order at a defined increment interval, and the numbers generated by a sequence can be used by applications, for example, to identify the rows and columns of a table. So that is what we will do in this exercise. We will actually uh, transform a row stored table which does not have any sequential IDs associated with its rows and convert it into a column store table. And so we all know that the column store table must have a primary key. So let us get started and let us move over to the SQL interface of the SAP HANA system. So let us drop the sequence which I have already created and create it from scratch. So let's drop it first, and so it's dropped. So now we will create the sequence over here, and it's very simple code. It just starts with create sequence and then gives the schema name and the name of the sequence, and I have started it with value 1. So we can start the sequence from any number we choose. So let's create the sequence over here. So the sequence has been successfully created. Now before doing anything else, let me show you how the row table looks like. So it's the row store table, and let us look at the data preview of the row store table. So it has only one column, and so there is no key associated with the column rows. And uh, so what we will do here is that we will generate a code which will have row IDs associated with the uh, rows, with each of the rows. So let's move back into the SQL interface. So let us now create a columnar table which will have two columns: cus ID, customer ID, and customer name. And so let's drop the table which I have already created first, and let me create the table, the columnar table first. And so the columnar table has been successfully created, and let's do a data preview of the columnar table just to show you how it looks like. So the columnar table which we are seeing has two columns: cus ID and cus name. So the sequence will generate the customer IDs in an automatic way, and then it will pull the data from the row table, populating the customer name column over here. So let's move over to the SQL interface. So this is the code, this is the most important piece of line, which will generate the uh, next val clause of the sequence, and it will generate the sequential IDs sequentially for each of the rows, and associate that by the next part of the code, which will pull in the customer names from each of the rows from the row table which we have over here. And so let's run this code and see what happens. So let's click on the execute button over here, and we see that the sequence ID started from 1, and we see that each of the rows have been associated with the sequence. So let's execute it again, and we will see that this number, the start number, has changed. So let's so it has changed to 36. So let's run it again, and we see that it has changed to 71 now. So let's move back into the SQL interface. So now what we will do is that we will insert the sequential IDs and also the customer names pulled in from the row table inside the columnar table by running these two lines of code. So let's do that. So we have successfully done that. Now let us write a select statement to pull in some of the rows from the columnar table. So select top 1000 rows star from, and then we will drag and drop the columnar table into the SQL interface of the SAP HANA system. So let's run this code, and we see that each of the rows which we pulled from the row table have been populated, have been associated with the customer ID fields which we created by running this sequence. So let us have a look at the columnar table in the data preview mode now. So we see that there are two columns over here, and we see that it has been fully populated by data by running the codes. So this is what I wanted to show you today, and hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at cpahana@outlook.com. And thank you for watching, and see you soon. Thank you very much. And let's run this code, and we see that each of the rows of the columnar